Good day and welcome back to the channel. Today I am extraordinarily excited. One, I get to do a technique that I absolutely adore and I think it would be very useful for folks out there. And two, it involves beef. Good beef. We're talking prime ribeyes. We're going to dry brine them for a couple of hours and then reverse sear. So that way we make sure we get the perfect doneness throughout the entire piece of meat. It's gonna be awesome. I cannot wait. Welcome back to the Farm Cook channel. This is the place where you get to eat well, have fun, and hopefully learn lots, especially about low carb and keto cooking. So now let's get ready and make some dinner. All right, so the first step in this process, doing the dry brine. What is that? That's just taking your protein, putting it onto a rack that has a pan underneath it and letting it get crusted in some salt and throw in the refrigerator to dry out the surface. That's as easy as it is. So, taking these lovely prime, look at the size of that guy. Now, these are not super thick. They're pretty hefty buggers. But when you go to Costco, and that's where I got these from, and I got these because they were on a very nice deal for less than $18 a pound. Again, these are pretty thick guys. In order to make sure that you get the doneness throughout the piece of beef all the way through without getting any of that gray nastiness is a challenge. So how do you deal with that? Well, you use a reverse sear method. And to get it ready for that method, we're gonna dry brine it because that doesn't matter if it's a prime or if it's just choice or whatever it is that you're making. Dry brining it for a couple of hours, it doesn't have to be very long, but just a couple of hours can actually bring out more flavor. The one caveat, if it's a really thin piece of protein, you may not want to do it just because the salt might be too much. But these guys are thick. They have a pretty good surface area, so they can handle a fair amount of salt, and that'll actually help retain moisture. So all we're doing right now is doing a little dusting with this coarse kosher salt. I'm not going buck willy, but I am putting on some. Again, because these are pretty good sized pieces of beef, they can handle a decent amount of salt. And actually it will improve the flavor. It's not just that it can handle it, it actually will enhance the flavor and bring out that, oh my goodness, beefiness. All right, one side is done, just flipping the guys over. Doing on the other side, just trying to keep the salt from bouncing all over the place. Get on the counter, but I'll clean up afterwards. But that's it. This is one very basic step that you can do even if you're cooking, I don't know, chicken, pork. You can do this, just let it dry out the outside of the skin for a little bit. The salt will again drive moisture into the protein and increase the chances that you're going to have a super yummy meal and really optimize the flavor of whatever it is that you're cooking. Doesn't matter if it's beef or chicken or pork. Doing this a little beforehand, wonderful. And you notice I didn't trim anything. I mean, if I was being really particular, I could knock off some of the thicker fat. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to let it go. And I got to admit, dry brining, getting some of the salt onto the fat and then cooking it and allowing it to render down, man, is that good. Did I get these guys? Yeah, I did. So that's it. That's the full extent of this process. And then the next step is, okay, well now what? Want to arrange these on the rack so that air can circulate around. And then this guy or these guys are going into the fridge for the next couple of hours to do their dry brining. So the next time I'll see you, These guys are going to come out of the fridge, be on the counter, and then they're going into the oven to bring up their temperature nice and slow. But I have to wait for that. All right, it's now a couple of hours later. The steaks have had a chance to dry brine for a couple of hours. I did take them out about an hour ago to try and bring them up to closer to room temperature. That way, what we're really trying to do is bring the temperature of the meat up very, very slowly and then sear it at the very end. That's the beauty of the reverse sear. It doesn't create zones within the meat that are overcooked on the way to getting the right temperature in the middle. So if we bring the temperature up slowly and then sear it at the end, it'll be perfect. So what do? We've got the steaks as they were, dry brining, just sitting out, and in order to make sure that we get to the right temperature, we're gonna check. So that means getting a temperature probe right in the middle of this guy. And that's it. We got a oven preheated to 200 degrees, and that's gonna bring up the temperature pretty slowly. So nobody gets that gray, nasty, overdone stuff. Oops. And then we'll just finish it on the grill. We'll sear it on the outside, and it's gonna come out beautifully. So now we just have to let the oven do its thing. When the temperature gets to about 110 degrees, that's when we know it's time to pull it and then finish it on the grill. Easy. All right, we're back, and the temperature is just at 108 degrees for that one big guy. I'm gonna pull him now and let him sit on the counter for just a minute to sort of equilibrate, and then we'll take them outside and get them onto the grill. But let's see what they look like right now. All right, that does not look delicious, but they will very soon. Once they get a chance to get finished and marked on the grill has been preheating for about 25 minutes or so. So it is screaming hot, and these guys are gonna look awesome, and more importantly, they're gonna taste awesome. But just have to wait a couple minutes. All right, so the grill is wicked hot. It's, climbing up towards 500 degrees. I just lifted up the top to clean it off a little bit. But this has been going for a while. We got the grill grates on. Gonna produce some lovely marks. Let's get these guys onto the fire. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just gonna leave them on for 20, 30 seconds. I'm gonna spin them 45 degrees, leave them for 20, 30, 40 seconds, flip them, same thing. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Time for the flip. So now we just have about 30 seconds to go before those guys are ready to come off the grill. It's time. It's that quick to finish up. That's it. We're gonna let these guys rest for just a couple of minutes because the temperature has come up pretty slowly. We don't have to wait for 10 minutes or 15 minutes for the juices to fully reintegrate. Because it's come up relatively slowly, the rest period doesn't have to be as long, so we'll be diving in shortly. Can't wait. All right, now is the moment of truth. Grab one of these guys and see how things look. Just, I don't know if camera's gonna pick up on the grill marks or not, but that looks pretty nice. Certainly better than when it came out of the oven. Let's separate off the outside decal from the main part, cut out some of that big fat. And man, looks amazing. So I'll make sure I can get this in. That's the interior. Man, does that look good. Smells amazing. Let's grab a couple of these guys. Put them on the plate. Looks amazing. It's perfectly done. Just spectacular. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt because again, these are pretty good size pieces of beef. They can handle a fair amount of salt and they need a fair amount of salt, but my gosh, super tender. Do this. If you have a big steak, something that's a little thicker than, say, an inch, consider doing a reverse sear. Try brine it first. Enjoy it. Let me know how it goes. Thanks.